G'day, everyone. Hope you're all well. Another qualifying session coming up for you. I have to say, haven't actually caught myself up on the practice session. I was working. But I saw that old Clemogio was P15 and Roman Stanek up into the P6, and Owaza actually, as I predicted, not publicly, but I did predict Owaza quickest up in the P1 there. Saw a replay actually quite painfully of his pole position lap at the Hungaroring from last year, which of course demoted our good friend Mr. Armstrong from pole to P2, so that was a hard one. Got him off the line though, and led the race up until the pit stop, and High-Tech took over from there, rather. But nonetheless, we're back here, ready again. Sky Sports doing their, I don't know, it's a Google Chrome advert now. Didn't get enough of that in Silverstone, did we? Again, the chat seems to be tucking itself away, so I'm going to try and watch myself on my iPad so I can read the chat. We're now getting the F1 intro, which is weird. Is F2 even meant to be starting now? 2:45 I was told. Okay. Aha, now I can read the chat. Excellent. All right, I can read the chat. And apparently qualifying starts in about 10 minutes. So, I've started the stream way too early. That's now become a fact. So we're watching Simon Lazenby and Anthony Davidson now on a pair of stools in the paddock in Hungaroring. So, we're having a look at Perez's shunt here. I mean, I'm just going to pivot. That's not good. Yeah. You really shouldn't be doing that. And I know that sounds like quite pedestrian advice when you're talking about something like Formula One, but crashing the car in the first practice session, you really shouldn't be doing that. Especially when you're in the fastest car. Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. Dearie me. Right, well, I'm going to have a look at the chat here. Yuki and the Red Bull. I don't know. Thoughts on... Oh, apparently it was an outlap as well, which does make it worse. They're right there. How was my holiday? My holiday was lovely. Thank you very much for asking. I went to Alderney, which is both the third smallest and third largest of the Channel Islands, so technically in the UK still, to visit my grandparents who live there. They're 96, and they were very pleased to see me, and Ali. And we just poodled about this small island, visiting pubs, having cocktails, going on walks, looking at old forts, because Ali's all into that. Very pleasant. Thanks very much for asking. I recommend it as a holiday destination to anyone looking for something a little bit off the beaten track. Alderney is a great spot. They've not even paid me to say that either. Somebody here lives in Jersey, so they'll know all about Alderney. What else is going on? So James, you're almost English. I am actually technically, as far as HMRC is concerned, English. I have an English passport. My mother's from England. So, cashed in there. Clem free holiday. Yep, no Clem. I haven't seen Clem in a while. Not since the early hours of Monday morning after Silverstone. Yes, I do miss Clem. Apparently there was a kid crying at some stage. How did Science looks like he's had a bit of a moment as well there. Weird place actually, the Hungaroring. I was there last year. It was actually the first time I went to an F2 race. It was. It's actually a very small facility as I knock everything over. Fuck. It's a very small facility. But the track itself actually is deceivingly long, because I went on a track walk when Marcus was fucking around with the engineers and having dinner and stuff. We went on a bit of a track walk and we got most of the way around before we actually realised we had to get our skates on, because it's very squiggly, which is a technical term. But odd place. And then obviously famously the F2, F3 paddock is just sort of just down the hill, literally from the F1 paddock, which kind of works because everything's sort of close together. It was a disappointing aspect of the British Grand Prix weekend. I'm just going to fuck around with my hair and now irritate myself and hate myself for touching it in the first place. It was disappointing at the British Grand Prix that our paddock in F2 was so far away from F1. It literally couldn't have been further. It was what felt like a half marathon. To the point where they even had buses to take the mechanics and the sort of various team personnel, drunk insurance brokers and so on, from the F2 paddock to the F1 pit lane for when the race had to start. It was a bus. It wasn't even a walkable journey, which was disappointing. And yes, I do say our paddock. Maya 02. I feel like I'm part of the furniture now, so I'm claiming it. So yeah, sorry to anyone who was in Silverstone and wanted to catch us, but didn't make the journey or couldn't make the journey down to the infield of the old pit straight. But hopefully we'll catch you later on in the year. Like Felipe in F1. I've missed that reference. I hope everyone enjoyed the Felipe Drugovich Screaming Meals episode, live now on YouTube and Spotify if you haven't caught it. It's a cracker. Big old healthy shout out to Aston Martin for actually letting us do it. Backbones. It's the first F1 team that's actually said yes to us. So it's positive news. We're moving in the right direction. I feel like I deserve a medium to large amount of credit in the sprint race. And by that I mean the foot running race. For a non-athlete to destroy, frankly, Felipe Drugovich and Marcus Armstrong, who are both full-time athletes, in a league race, I thought was quite impressive from someone in a full suit, but that's not for me to say. And Clem had a bit of a stumble at the start. He overestimated the amount of grip that he might have from the Gucci loafers and almost stacked it. I anticipated the lack of grip, so I was quite easy on the power as I sort of launched and then sort of tried to speed up. I was sort of found myself halfway through the race and I was really shoulder to shoulder with Drugovich. And I thought, come on, dig deep, Blair, your backbone, you've got this guy, you got the legs on him. And so, yeah, dug deep and, blitzed him. But unfortunately, old Clamogio was just rapid and got me from right at the line from a dodgy start. But anyway, F2's just started, by the way. We've just had the opening thing, and now we're looking at an aerial view of the track. It's all going on. Very green, Hungaroring. Sometimes we can see the grass quite brown. That's uninteresting chat from me. I mean, oh, it's green this year. Sometimes it's brown. Fucking come on. You're better than that. Alright, so 2 DRS zones here. One coming out of the last corner, traditionally down the main straight into turn 1, which is a hairpin. Makes for some good overtaking, but the last corner does mitigate that a little bit. And then if you haven't quite got the job done at T1, which is quite a common occurrence, you can then have another sniff down into T3 as you sort of go around the non-existent, really, kind of T2. Although they are labelling it 2 here now on the TV, so I can't... Okay, so maybe they've... Alright. You know what I mean. Getting a replay of Callum Ilott, and believe it might be a Lacey there back in 2020. Correct. As we see the pit lane here now. Overview shot, old Clamogio there at car number 21. Can you do something for me? Has been wet, now drying. If you're not tuned into the commentaries, we see the F2 cars now pull out of the box and they come out onto the straight. Iwaza leads the field, as he did in the timesheets and free practice, ahead of his teammate Leclerc, and it's both high-techs out early as well. Qatar Airways getting a real splash of colour around the circuit here. I mean, they've even painted the off-running in Qatar Airways. Maroon is what I would call that. Quite a nice sort of earthy tone as reds go. Your maroon. So everyone's starting here out on the soft tyre. It seems so far as we ride on board Frederick Vesti, championship leader, avoiding the wet patches, as you can kind of see them there just on the sort of outskirts of the unused parts of the circuit. But yeah, he's going to want to sort of skip around those. He obviously had a bit of a rough one last time out in the feature race in Silverstone, which apologies to all the backbones I was not able to commentate on as I was there live. And if I filmed live content from the vicinity of a Formula One sanctioned event and broadcast it, then Formula One media would have my throat cut out of my neck and freeze-dried and then bronzed, I would presume, quite nicely and framed in the FIA head offices. So we were very much not allowed to do that. So unfortunately, I couldn't give my thoughts on last week's race. Timestamp. Everyone asked for 28 minutes on the nose there. Okay, so the clock as I'm looking at it now is going 27 minutes and 50 seconds, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, and so on. I think you get it. This is the time, 27 minutes, 39 seconds. Go. As we're still seeing everyone just warming up the tyres there. Obviously, Ollie Behrman, friend of the show, although he's still not been allowed to appear on it. Warming his tyres there. Tao Pourchaire, he had a great Silverstone, Tao Pourchaire. 2 podiums, obviously, in the sprint and the feature. And we all knew and anticipated him to be a championship runner at the start of this season, but that really, you get the feeling, propelled him up the ranks. Well, I mean, you don't get the feeling, you can see it in the numbers, but shot him up the ranks, and he's right back in this now. Frederick Vesti, who looked to be running away with it, having some kind of dedusory issue last time out with Roman Stanek, I believe it was. And some shit happened. B-Man absolutely robbed of a result. Um, he was fucking penalised for two cars crashing into each other that he didn't crash into. So that was some bullshit. As we're going to hear from him now. He's so commercially viable, Ollie Behrman. He's so polite and nice in the way that he speaks. You wouldn't have thought he's a total killer on the circuit behind the wheel. But hell of a peddler, that man. But yeah, has about as much intimidation aspect as a primary school teacher, Ollie Behrman. Lovely kid. Love the boy to death. Speaking of loving people to death, here's Jackie Moon on screen now, going for his push lap in the number 9. Looks pretty good. I mean, Hightech had a good car here last year. Obviously, Armstrong putting out his best qualifying performance of his Formula 2 career. Jackie Moon really will be the benchmark here, as is 24 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. Now, a couple of questions I want to address. The first one is in regards to Jackie Moon's hair/beard. I think it's terrible. It's gone too far. It really needs addressing. I might need to step in and take some control. Because it looks shit. The second question which popped up, which I would like to address, it said, how did the Hinch pod go? Because I didn't actually realise that Armstrong had been on Hinch's pod since Silverstone, but they recorded an episode where Hinch let it drop that he's a guest in the pipeline on the show. Don't know when it's going to release, probably in the next week or so. And it was my favourite pod that we've ever done. It was great. Really enjoyed talking to Hinch. He's a great dude, someone I've looked up to for a long time. Unfortunately, sadly, old Clamogio had a couple of dramas he needed to attend to on the day, so couldn't actually make the pod. So it was old school. It was Armstrong and myself and the guest. No condom, doing it raw. So that was good. It was good fun. It was a nice chat. Spoke a lot of bullshit. As we see Porsche having a bit of a moment there. A little bit of a snap, but he's recovered it well. You don't often see that with a Formula 2 car. Usually they're like femurs. Once they snap, they're no good. But he's gathered that up well in the final sector there, as we ride now on board with, I believe it's Doohan, but it could be his teammate. No, it is Jack Doohan. He looks like he's just slowing down, so this probably won't last long. Tyne has just, I don't know if that's the way you pronounce it, I do, sorry. I'm hoping F2 quality is better than F3, at least our favourites. I didn't actually watch the F3 qualifying. If somebody could actually just tell me a top 5, that'd be very helpful. And also, if Bortoletto was not in the top 5 where he was. So he's a good mate of ours. Prema 1, 2 and F3. O'Sullivan P1. Okay, yeah, he's a good rooster. Bortoletto P13. That's tough. Pepe Martin now, people are saying, is P13. And somebody's dog passes on their regards to the viewers. That's nice. I'm going to tune back into qualifying here now. Clomogio up in P8, but I mean, this is the early stages of qualifying, so that does actually, unfortunately, mean absolutely fuck all. Vesti looking rapid early on. Behrman looks like he doesn't have too much to sort out. First push lap. Looking strong up in P5. Wonder if track limits are going to play a bit of a part here. We'll see as that progresses. So I think it's at turn 4 or 5. The fast left-hander, where Hadjar is now. No, that's the second to last corner. Where they can run wide and get in a bit of trouble. I remember Grosjean got in trouble there years ago for overtaking around the outside there. And it was a bit of an uproar because it was a banger of an overtake. But yeah, he was just over the white line, so I had to give the spot up. As we're back to the Qatar Airways Hungarian Grand Prix. Holy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Qatar Airways logos in one camera shot. Don't come crying to me and say they're not getting their money's worth there. Fuck me, they love a Qatar Airways in Hungary. As the fast laps are tumbling in now, with exactly 20 minutes on the clock now, and we get a yellow flag. Sectors 2 and 3. Oh, and it's Stanek who's had a moment of dedugery, and he's taken out some of the Aramco sponsorship. The Saudis won't be pleased about that, but it's a red flag. So how's he done that? Hey, I think he's had a moment. No, that's an odd spot to lose it. It really is. That is an odd spot to lose it. Interested to see a replay here. Salvadori, he's not going to be pleased. Novalak's in the garage, so he's going to have heaps of fuel, which is good. I mean, we're really fucking plucking at straws here, people. Here's the replay of what's gone wrong with Roman. He's just looped at quite a low speed shunt. That shouldn't be too much damage for the young man who races nude underneath his Nomex. Doesn't wear underwear in the car. Just fireproofs only. Hasn't got out yet, but it looks like it's just going to be a front wing and maybe a corner. Hopefully not too much damage on that rear. As they all come into the pits now, Martins, Hauger, Maloney, seem to be followed by pretty much everyone else, I presume. It's odd watching this one on TV, having been there last year, to be perfectly honest. I remember watching this session next to Marcus's mum in the F2 hospitality section. And he was looking good. I think he finished like the first push session up in like P6 or something. Maybe even P4. And then the final push lap was shit hot, put us P1. Everyone came through, slower. I thought, fuck me, we're actually on. And then bang. Like a shot to the heart. Iwaza, purple, sector 1. Last car on the track. Fuck me, he's not going to, is he? Boom. Iwaza, purple, sector 2. Fuck. Bang, Iwaza, pole, 6/10. Oh, get fucked. How? Oh, shit. Well, P2's alright. P2's good. But yeah, that was the emotional roller coaster I went on 12 months ago, for those of you wondering. And then, like I said, yeah, Armstrong did a great job on the launch, led the first stage of the race, and then the pit stops, it all turned to shit. Classic. As we fittingly see now some Ferrari fans in the grandstands taking some photos. Hope everyone enjoyed my Silverstone TikTok. If you don't follow me on TikTok, fair enough. I did a video of what it's like a bit behind the scenes. I hope you guys enjoyed that, if you've seen it. I don't really enjoy doing them. I don't really like stopping in a cool moment to get my phone out and take a 2 to 3 second video. I think it makes me look like a bit of a dick in public. I think it makes me look a massive dick to anyone who doesn't understand what TikTok is, which was me about 5 weeks ago. I'd encourage anyone who is on TikTok to get off TikTok. Do something useful and productive with your lives. Start a company, start a business, start a podcast, start a cult. I don't care. But why? You don't need to be on your phone all the time. Just enjoy things for what they are. Anyway, you don't have to listen to me. I'm just giving my life advice as an insurance broker. As you see, Teo Porcher getting an interview here. He seems to be on a real journey with his hair. He's got quite a large head, so it's probably quite difficult for him to sort of pull off haircuts. I think he should go for a centre parting, though, to be honest. I think that might be his answer. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat there. That was probably very boring for anybody. Hoping to gather some information. Any gossip? Not really, to be honest. We got ripped off on Sunday night again because we went to one of those stupid nightclubs. There were some people there. To be honest, it was really just me and Clem. No one really you would know. There was an F1 driver there, but I can't say who it was. Yeah, we got totally smoked by the nightclub promoter again. It was a bit of a dick. Anyway, here's a shot of old Clemogio. 18:45 on the clock, folks. As we go green again. Oh, fuck me, I almost dropped the iPad. Alright, come on, let's go Novalak. Let's put something together. Roy Nassani here, PHM, who resides in Budapest. Little known fact. Loves it out there. He's a bit of a bougie individual. And I think, yeah, he just enjoys Budapest. Fair enough. I didn't really like it. The Hungarian people who are screaming Meals fans are fantastic. They're great. They're backbones. But on the whole, regrettably, I did actually find people in Hungary to be quite mean. So I didn't feel particularly welcome. The circuit is fine, but if you do go, and I realise this is bad advice for anyone now, because anyone who's going is there, bring a car, because if you bank on getting a taxi back from the track, you can forget about it. On Saturday night, there were queues past midnight for a taxi. There was no buses. There's no trains, which is fine, but people should know that up front. On the flight out there, Wizz Air fucked me around. They removed me from a flight just as it was about to take off, and they told me that my seat had been allocated to somebody else, and they asked me to get off it. And I said, I'm not leaving the gate until I see the plane take off. I want to be sure there's no spare seats. And they said, no, get fucked. Go back around to arrivals. So, okay, I lost that fight. And I pulled up and I said, got to the Wizz Air help desk. As we see Zane Maloney go through the chicane, got up to the help desk, told them what had happened. They said, oh, it's a shame you should have stayed there because the plane actually took off with an extra seat. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And they said, no, hey, no worries, mate. We'll get you on the next flight out of here that's going to Budapest with a free seat, no worries. Okay, fine. When's that? Tuesday afternoon. Get fucked, it's Tuesday afternoon. It's going to be this afternoon, you dumb motherfucker. Then I basically just decided to be a complete pain in the ass for 6 hours because I had frankly nothing better to do. And I pointed that out to them. I said, look, I'm meant to be in Budapest, like literally now. So that's what I planned on doing today. And as I'm not there, I now have nothing better to do than to completely ruin your day. So I was just such a pain in the ass to the point where I did manage to get on a flight later that Friday. They ended up just being, right, we've got to get rid of this guy. He's obviously just going to stay here for 3 days and be a cunt. So they got me on a plane, got there, everyone in Hungary was mean to me. Armstrong should have won but didn't because High Tech fucked it. Went out Sunday night, that was all going pretty well. Then my phone got stolen. And by the time I bought him a flight home, I really just wanted to cry. Emmy Triggers, if anyone knows who she is, has just texted me saying that she's getting a taxi or something. Bad idea, Emmy. Leave now if you can. That's my advice to you. She's out there. Yeah, don't go to Budapest, basically. Don't be seduced by the cheap ticket price, because logistically, it's a fuck up. What is the best Grand Prix to go to? To be fair, and I know it was ridiculously expensive, but Melbourne was really good. You got heaps for your money in Melbourne. Again, it was too much money, but that was a really well-run event. There was heaps of stuff going on. There was not only your usual contenders, obviously your F1s and your Porsche Super Cup and your V8 Supercars. Obviously, you had F2 this year as well. And obviously, there were more categories than that, but I mean, that was really... I mean, you've got Porsche Carrera Cup Australia, which is a great category. You got V8 Supercars, which is a great category. It's as good as it gets for tin tops in Australia. F1 and F2 and F3. And the aero display is really cool. They had a Spitfire that kept flying around, so if you get a hard on for World War II aircraft like I do, because I am a 78-year-old man, that was really cool as well. Enjoyed that. Nice and central, easy to get to, easy enough. Accommodation wasn't crazy bad. Only issue for European viewers, it's so far. It's so far away. It's so much travelling is involved. But I would make a 2-week trip out of it. Or do what we did, which is the least economical way of doing it, and go to New Zealand afterwards, and then go to America, and then go back to Europe. So you've only got one bad flight, and then you're direct to New Zealand, direct to LA, and then direct back to London. But that was so expensive. One-way flights are so expensive. I cannot even begin to tell you the hardship that I'd suffer. Right, let's have a look back at the chat here now. Let's turn this slightly less of me venting podcast and slightly more back into a commentary stream. As we see the championship leaders now wanting to come back out on the track. Here's Frederick Vesti, almost taking one of his premier mechanics with him on the rear wing there, but the guy managed to let go. Mick Doohan, who's one of the most intense people ever, watches on as Jack gets lowered down onto the surface and out onto the track he'll go shortly. What else is a good Grand Prix? They're still on outlaps. No one's really interested in outlaps. Nürburgring was awesome. But take that with a grain of salt because I went in 2011. But if it was good in 2011 and Silverstone was shit in 2011, it's probably really decent these days. I mean, trust the Germans to do it properly. Nürburgring was great. So, I mean, to be honest, I'd probably just encourage you to go to any Grand Prix or any event, therefore, actually, just in Germany, because it's going to be well run. How they managed to lose a war is beyond me, but we won't go down that rabbit hole. What else is good Grand Prix? Silverstone was pretty good this year. It is stupidly expensive, and it's really hard to get to. My advice, though, for anyone going to... Somebody's just commented this is so unhinged, and I couldn't agree more. It's been a long week, folks. If you're going to Silverstone, don't stay in Milton Keynes. It's the worst idea ever. Stay in Chipping Norton, which is where Clarkson's farm is all done. That's where he lives. This is his local village is Chipping Norton, which is where I stayed, just outside there in a nicely Airbnb. There's a few F1 fans in and around there, but it's no big, it's not too crowded. It's still quite quiet. It's quaint. It's nice. It's not Milton Keynes, which is a very important plus that it's got going for it. The accommodation was reasonably priced, booked it quite late as well. And it's an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 20 minutes from Silverstone. But hear me out. The way they rejig all the traffic and all the fucking around and all the fucking general traffic anyway in and around Milton Keynes for the Silverstone weekend, even if you're staying really, really, really close geographically to the circuit, it might still take you 45 minutes to get there anyway. So I thought, and I was right, we're better off if we just jet off in the other direction to Milton Keynes. There's not going to be any rejig traffic. There's not going to be any fucking around. No one's going to be staying that crazy far away. So we stayed a long distance away from the circuit, but ultimately only ended up taking us about another half an hour, and we probably saved about 800 quid, 900 quid on accommodation, and it was much nicer. I'm going to return now to the Formula 2 qualifying session, which is actually what I'm meant to be talking about. But fuck it, no one's actually paying me to do this, so... I'm just going to take a second of myself and breathe for a bit. I feel like a Yuma Owaza, whose high heart rate is being shown on the screen here now. He's running around about the 180, 190 mark as he starts his qualifying lap, which is pretty normal. I've seen that somebody said the word, I don't know if I should say it. Auto mod. Oh, sorry, somebody's been flagged for misogyny, which is hilarious. Auto mod. I'm going to select it and I'm going to allow the word cunt because it's one of my favourite words. There you go. Felicity underscore. Your message using the word cunt has been cleared. As we're halfway through Yuma Owaza's qualifying lap, he's yellow in the first sector, which he won't be a fan of. I'm making it up on the fly here, people. And a really rough-looking second sector. I don't think this is going to be much better. It's probably going to be green or purple now that I've said that. What's it going to be? Green. 3/10 off Frederick Vesti. So he probably... he might improve if he has a really decent final sector, but So far, this isn't looking great. No longer looking for a place to sleep at the Dutch Grand Prix, but thank you very much. I will be there, staying in Zandvoort. Massive snap of oversteer through the last corner for Owaza, and he's going to cross the line and very slightly improves from P6 to P5. I don't see him staying there long as Porsche. He's already green and purple from P4, and he's going to go to P1 by nigh on 1,000th of a second. And here comes Frederick Vesti, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. He's got a bit of traffic in the final sector. That's going to really stitch him up. If he gets this done, that's impressive, because he really got fucked over there. Oh, and he's only got it done as well by 0.163. Hauger, he puts it into P4. So it's still Vesti with provisional pole position, as Miney puts in a great lap for P4. Owaza, as I was mentioning, he's now relegated to P7. Hadjar up into P9. Behrman to P4. We like to see that. Boschong struggles to get anywhere near his teammate. He goes to 12th. Novalak still sits 19th. I'm hoping he's on a lap. Daruvala massively improves up to P5. Novalak to 13. That's positive. 14 with for sure. That's a good lap from for sure, P9. Alright, so I think we've pretty much cycled through here now. So I'll run you through the field as they are with 5:45 to go in the session. It's going to be Scooby-Dooby-Doo in P1 from Teo Porchchair, and then it's Victor Martins, P3, the hot Frenchman. Oliver Behrman, the B-man, he brings it up in P4. Jehan Daravala, P5. P6, Kushmaini. P7, Patrick Swayze. P8, Jack Doohan. P9, Richard Verschoor. And P10, rounding out the top 10, is Ayumo Owaza. And then I'm going to rapid fire the rest of the drivers for you here from P10 through to P22. It's going to be Maloney, Hadjar, Fittipaldi, Novalak, Boschong, Juan Manuel Correa, Arthur Leclerc, Nissani, Amori Cordial, Benavides, and then two other punters, but we've lost them off the bottom of the screen. But it's going to be someone else in static. So Porsche's going again. Quite interesting. Interesting call. I would have thought that everyone else is going to be going for a double call. But a 3-year veteran now, Teo Porcher in the ART team. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. And he does go green through the first sector. And that's where he struggled last time. So he's strong in this, or at least last time out he's strong in Sector 2 and Sector 3. But those are the ones with the majority of the corners. And as the tyre goes off, those are, obviously, we've talked about the Pirelli tyre at great length on Screaming Meals. It's a total piece of shit. And you see that there with a bit of a snap through 8 as we're back now on an outside shot of Owaza, who's green through the first 2. And Porcher, he's gone yellow in the second sector. He's a quarter of a second off now the pole time. Owaza, he's going to improve here, but by how much? He goes to P4. Up 6 spots. He'll love that. Martins. Purple in S2. Come on. Victor. I love Victor. He's great. He's a really nice guy. It's Vesti's purple now in S1 and green in S2. Martins to the pole. Still 3.5 minutes remaining though. Crawford really struggling, only P18. As Vesti falls short. So Martins really could be looking good here. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Less than 100th of a second off, but off nonetheless. He lines up P2 as they stand. Is Doohan now. Takes the pole. From Victor Martins by 0.5 of a second. That's a great lap from Jack Doohan. As Hadjar clearly has the fast high-tech this weekend. He's in P5. Something's really tickling my throat now as I start to shout a bit more. I could do with some chocolate milk. Which I know sounds oddly specific. I just so happen to have some in my fridge. Or Clem's fridge. I just live here. I'd love to see Doohan get pole. I feel like we're friends, but we've never had a conversation. I'd imagine that's potentially how a lot of you, and I hope how a lot of you feel about the Screaming Meals bunch in the chat. You know, we may not have had a conversation. For fuck's sake, Novalak, of course, if there's a steward's notification, it's going to be Novalak. And he's being looked into for impeding Juan Manuel Correa. Those two are fucking so glued together. I'm relieved and impressed that they actually can still shake hands and have a beer later. As Behrman has his lap time deleted. That sucks shit. Really need that chocolate milk. A minute 15 left in the session. Who's still got something? Can I just say, if it ends like this, stop the count. I'm cool with it. Novalak's done a great job, P15. And the clerk's had his lap time deleted. Moon's in the pits. Paul Chair going again. I feel like this is his 17th push lap in this session. For Shaw's had his lap deleted. That sucks. Martins is back on again. He's going for it. And Doohan's back on again. He's gone. They're both green in Sector 1. Yellow in Sector 2 for Martins. He's going to have to encounter a little bit of traffic. But not too bad through the last corner. It looks relatively stable for him. And doesn't go to the top. He lost a lot of time in that last sector. Doohan's purple in the middle. He's got a wagon. He's gone. That's a big dick move from Jack Doohan. Purple in Sector 2 and aborts the lap because he knows he's got it done. That's big dick energy if I've ever seen it. And good old bloody Jackie Doohan. Ash! There on the TV. Ash being Armstrong's trainer from last year. I was talking to him earlier in the week, saying he was disappointed not to see me again, but then I basically explained to him, exactly as I explained earlier on the stream, all the issues that I personally have with Budapest. And so I won't be going there again. But good old Jack Doohan, eh? Overdue. Overdoing. Oh, grouse. All right, well, hey, look. As far as I'm concerned, that's another F2 qualifying session. And it's going to be Doohan, Martins and Vesti, your top three. Portshare rounding out the second row. Hadjar with a good session in P5 and Owaza, the man in P6 at the end of the day. Bam in P7. Both MPs stuck together in P8 and 9 of Deruvla and Hauger. And then it's Kushmani rounding out your top 10. Everyone else can get fucked other than Novalak. He's P15. We're happy about that. Best qualifying session of the year, unfortunately. But hey, folks, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Friday night and stay safe out there. Kia kaha.